Shalom. This is a continuation of the video that was interrupted earlier. What happened is my phone decided that it was too hot to do a video. But the story I was saying was that this owner gave this employee this check for 40 hours, and he wanted us to call him once the check was handed over. And for us, we were like, oh, he kind of, we kind of got this rolled eyes, always trying to micromanage us. But when we called him and he said, on behalf of me and every member of our team, you know, we all collectively decided to do this for you. We're paying you these 40 hours in addition to your pay, for one, to help you if there's a financial void, and B, if you needed to take more time off than what the company policy says, you already be paid for it. And so we kind of looked at each other and were like, okay, thanks. But it showed that he had, you know, he cared and he had compassion for his employees. Um, this owner is no longer a business owner um, due to retirement, but it went to show one amazing thing. As an owner, sometimes you have to say, we did it, not I did it. I done this, I done that, I done this. You have to be able to show your people that you care, but also your organization cares. Even if you got managers that work for you who aren't probably the best people or whatever, they're not people. I guess I can't say people. People, I guess they're not the most personable, but at the same time, you have to grow that person and build beyond that. So when you do a collectively good thing, let it be part of the collective. Let it be something um, that goes beyond that selfishness, that need to say what I've done for you or what I am doing for you. Let it be something that goes to that your compassionate nature. Having care and concern and compassion. Those three things go hand in hand. You can care for any employee, their well-being. You can you can have concern for them, and you can be extremely compassionate. Um, so with that story, I guess that would kind of more or less end the first part of this video. As I said, there were two thoughts on my mind this morning, and that was just one of them. The second one is knowing when to let go. Uh, in our lives, we sometimes find that we hold on to things that either don't work or don't fit within our dynamics of our life. Not just our basic, friendships, but be it careers or anything, or your, um, gym, whatever. There are a lot of things that we find that we do uh, consciously and sometimes subconsciously that don't benefit us long term. Um, for me, case in point, I did credit monitoring for probably 10 years. Every month, boom, 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 and I never checked my credit but once a year, which is free. And I started looking at how much money I was spending. So a couple months ago, I decided, okay, let me cut ties with this. There are too many free things out there. Credit Karma, Credit Sesame. I mean, and it was like, why not use some of those resources as opposed to paying for a report, via Equifax or and stuff. So that was something I had to let go. Another thing is, um, I say letting go of the things that we think we have to have. Um, I know people who feel like as soon as the next Jordans come out, they gotta go get them. Boom, I gotta go get them. And then they say, oh, man, I got this bill coming up, I can't pay it. Well, there are two parts in that. You could be the freshest on the street every day of the week, but if you put it into perspective, what is your benefit of being the freshest on the street? Are you growing towards something? It'd be the same for, when you go out and see a new car come out. Boom, I got to run to the lot. What's the benefit? What's the cost benefit of that? What are you getting out of that? And what will be the purpose and what will be its long term purpose in your goals? If your goal is to be a millionaire, I know people who spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a year in apparel. Being that clothes, shoes, um, whatever. And that's not necessarily saying that's a lot of money when you look at spending over time. However, you know, what thing do you have that can help benefit you? If your credit score is 300, 400, I'm just using it as an example. Let's say your credit score is 500 and you want to hit 650 or you want to hit 700. Well, how do you do that? Well, I've got this many, old bills. I got this many. The one thing that I did to correct my credit issue was to take my credit report and change my spending habits. Whereas you may buy, let's say, 3 pair of Jordans in a year, what happens if you turn around and buy two? Or what happens if you buy one? And I'm just using Jordans as an example. Of course, love the shoes. Don't own a pair, but I don't see an issue with those who do. But if you say, okay, I can buy one less pair, and take those $150, $200. I don't know how much they cost really for real, but you take that and say, hey, I got a no debt from a couple years ago. You pay that debt off. Boom, it's off you can get it off your credit. Then you tackle the next. You tackle the next. So let's say you got to build us $1,000, and you may have those 200 and something bucks you're gonna use for shoes. Pick up the phone and call them. You never know when they'll take it and say, "Hey, look, we'll take it." And having it paid helps. Having it paid for less money doesn't necessarily super benefit you, but it shows that you have paid. Or you can do what I call the other route, which is just let all the debt go and let it die. But it just takes sometimes I think it takes a little bit longer to get your score back up. But I guess I say that to say this: when we're looking at credit and how we can build your own financial wealth, you have to let go of the stuff that means you no good. You have to let go of the things that you may spend money on that you can take that money and put it somewhere else. Put it in a jar. It's kind of like people have these cursing jars. Every time they say a bad word, they put $1 in a jar. It's kind of the same, more or less, philosophy or thought process. You take money out but you take it and you use it for something to benefit you. Because here's what happens when it comes to credit. If you got bad credit, get your um, prepaid credit card. Wells Fargo, I think Wells Fargo does. I know Wells Fargo does business, but there's a couple of companies that have these prepaid cards. Well, you get these cards, you start using them, making sure you make the payment. Make sure you make the payment, and you don't have to go out and spend $300 or however much it is every month. Maybe one tank of gas a month, but you're showing that you're using it, that you're being responsible for paying. I usually say try to pay it off before it reports to the credit for the credit bureau. As long as you keep going and having payments, making payments on time, and it's showing that you've been making payments, your credit score will start to increase. The next thing you know, you'll get offers from other credit card companies, and then that'll help you to establish your credit history, even if you had bad credit. Now, I will say this, and I say this from personal experience. I've had count them, two foreclosures. And one, I bought a house when I was like 18, 19 years old, and the second was during my first divorce. So it was kind of a interesting part of my life. But I've learned something. I was able to bounce back within 3 years of my second divorce, second foreclosure. I bought another house. It wasn't because I did something special or spectacular, but it was because I looked at my A, the money I was making, B, the things I spent my money on, and C, how could I increase my credit score back to a point of acceptability? I mean, it takes time. Credit's not something that's overnight. It's a process. And even when it came down to me wanting to buy things, and I may have the cash for it today. I may say, hey, I want to buy um, these Jordans, but I would use my credit cards, and then I just pay the money back. Boom, pay it back, put it back on there. And it got me into a habit, or two habits. One of utilizing the credit that I had, and after a couple of months, next thing you know, boom, credit limit increase. Boom, credit limit increase. Boom, credit limit increase. And I found that by doing so, because they want you to spend the money. Credit card companies, they're not in the business to help you. They're in the business to make money, and they make money off of finance charges, etc. So as you spend money, and they feel like, hey, we've got a better shot at being able to charge him this interest. We've got a better opportunity to make money off the money that he spends. They're going to give you higher rates. I had one credit card. I went like $4,000. Boom! I made a $4,000 purchase, and then I paid it right back off in like a week. Credit card company probably had a heart attack. But in doing so, they're like, oh, he's got um, excellent paying history. So guess what? Boom, they added another $1,000 to my credit line. Not that I asked for it, just boom, one day happened. But one of the things we find is you have to let go of the things that don't mean you any good. I had uh, I had an opportunity once to buy a company. I got all the way to the final step of buying this company, and I realized that I would have had to let go of something, and that would have been my stepping out of my comfort zone. At the time, I was like 22, 23 years old, so my mindset would not allow me to step out there to do something that would have made me a ton of money had I just took a chance at it. So at the time I had a lot of things going on that didn't really mean me any good. I had a lot of people around me that didn't mean me any good, and I had a lot of people around me that meant me the best, but I didn't really take their counsel. And so, wise men take the counsel of others. So you have to kind of take that time out to find out what works. What are you willing to sacrifice to make it work, and let go of the things that don't work. So as it sits now, I've got my butcher shop ready to open. I've got a 4-year-old daughter who's standing right here. Say hello.
Hello.
And
Let me hello again.
I'll let you hello again.
Hello, Jacqueline.
You are Jaslyn. um, and like I said, you have to let go of the things that mean good. And one of the things I've learned is that sometimes our careers mean us no good. Sometimes the jobs we take, sometimes the companies that we work for, sometimes the people around us mean us no good. And when I say that, I mean, like, you can work a job with um, people that you don't necessarily like. You don't have to like people for them to mean you good. I worked with a guy, I hated his guts, but almost every week or every month, he gave me some insight into how to run a business. And it wasn't an intention. It wasn't like we sat down and strategized. He just say, "Hey, look, man, you see that guy over there? Man, he does a great job at that. He used to be a supervisor." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "That guy used to be a supervisor, but he came back to doing this because he knew the limitations of his abilities." I'm like, all right, whatever that means. Well, what I found even in my own career was that sometimes you can take a person and put them in a position that they're not ready for. And them not being ready for it, meant that this guy just could not do the job. But once I got the guy into the job, he was floundering. And him in that position meant the company no good. Stop, Jazz. One thing that I'll say is that we sometimes hold on to things and hold on to people who aren't there for us or aren't there for the companies that we work for. And as managers and leaders, we have to understand that those people who don't mean us any good in a company, they don't have to go. They just need to be somewhere where they can mean us good. You may have a guy who, shovels horse crap all day long. Guy might not be maybe the worst crap shoveler ever in this world. Jazz, I'm making a video, okay? Hold on, be quiet. But then you take that same guy and say, hey, look, I need you to drive halfway across the farm and go lift hay, go pick up 50 bales of hay, bring them back. And when you get done with the 50 bales of hay, I need you to go feed all the horses. I need you to go to... And the guy goes out, he does it in record time. So when I say getting rid of the things that don't mean you any good, sometimes that means not necessarily getting rid of a person, getting rid of a situation. It means adjusting. You have to adjust yourself. Uh, One thing in the business world, we can always say, "Hey, I can go find another job." Well, sometimes the problem isn't the job position itself. It's your position within the organization, or not the position, but it's not the job or the company itself. It may be your role in that company or your role in that business. You know, sometimes I find that owners, managers, and vice presidents have the mindset that they know more than they know about their own industry. I've seen guys in the food industry that walk in and, oh, I'm the VP, so that makes me know more than you, and I seen a few that came in what I would say correct. I had a guy that literally came in and says, I've never ran this kind of process. Can you help me? One of the best bosses I've ever worked for in my life. Because there were two things he did. He came in humble, and we built a partnership, not because he was such a great guy, but he was a guy that knew his own limitations. And he told me, he says, I've got to get rid of a lot of my thinking. He said, because the way this industry works is entirely different than the industry that I came out of. So in that, this guy let go of his ego. He got rid of something that didn't mean him any good. A lot of us have problems getting rid of that. We want to know when we've never been taught, and we want to teach something we don't know. I think it's vital for us as adults, of beautiful little girls that like to lay on daddy all the time, to um, position ourselves and position our life so that we can achieve the things that we need to achieve. And in achieving those, like I said, you have to let go of the things that don't mean you any good. I once, had a brand new car, but I needed a truck. I needed something that I could haul stuff with. But ego held me to keep the car, and ended up not being the best experience. So now I've learned that when you buy a vehicle, you buy you buy something for your needs and your wants and your desires. So me going to buy another car would not fulfill the needs that I have. It may fulfill my desires, but if I go out and buy me a truck, it'll fit not only my personal but also my professional needs. I raise sheep, and so if I need to haul anything, guess what? I need a vehicle that can do that. But I may want to go get a nice truck that fits my needs, because if I go get another car, then it means me no good when it comes down to my farming side of my life. It only means good for me to ride around and look good, but reality of the situation is nobody cares what you drive. I mean, unless you're driving a expensive sports car, then people probably care. They give you a second look, but that's not what I'm interested in. And with that, I'm going to end this conversation, because this little girl right here, who loves her daddy so much, is always wanting to say hello or goodbye, and put stuff in front of the camera. Quit it. Quit it. and I think she wants to take a nap. You want to take a nap?
Mm-mm.
You're not going to take a nap no more?
No, you're taking that.
I'm going to take a nap?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Daddy's going to take a nap now.
Except the pony.
Except the pony.
Yeah.
The pony ain't taking a nap either?
Yeah.
But with that, I'll say, everybody, have a great day. For those who see this video for the first time or see this channel for the first time, please subscribe below. Have a great day. Bye-bye.